So hello there, welcome to Damien's Trains and Travels, and welcome to the video. In this video we're doing a review on 8 figures in the Wallace and Gromit range, and these were produced by a company called McFarlane. As you can see, like most of the other things I collect, I've decided to keep these in the box. And you probably as well know that I collect the Thomas the Tank Engine ones, and I've got them both in and out of the boxes. The Ertl diecast range, and some of them I got from the flea market in Wellingborough, but unfortunately the market in Wellingborough is now closed down. There isn't a market there now. I don't know if it's due to come back, but so it's not there anymore, unfortunately. So just a sign of the times, I guess, really. So there's 8 of these altogether, but then also I have this one as well. It's the same company, a very large figure of the Were-Rabbit from the film Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and all of these figures I've got here, they're all the characters, obviously Wallace and Gromit themselves, and the additional characters that appeared in the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. And I really like all these. And you've got 2 of Wallace, so you've got one of him in his sort of like turnout outfit. So you've got one of him in his outfit for Antipesto when they were going around ridding the town of pests. And then you've also got Gromit like that as well, but Gromit only wears a hat. And then you've got just what I call normal Gromit, so Gromit without a hat or anything, with his marrow that he grew during the film. And then also you've got Wallace with his new tank top, which was shown in the Curse of the Were-Rabbit when he went to tea with Lady Tottington. And I quite like the tank top that he's got here. Unfortunately it shrunk when it got wet, but I think this is a great figure of Wallace. And then there's a few other characters as well, and one that isn't included, a character that I quite liked, was the Vicar. And unfortunately he's not been included in this. However, I have actually got some statues that were also part of the Curse of the Were-Rabbit sort of franchise sort of set that come out. Mine are actually packed away at the minute, but here's, you can see them. I've actually got the full set. They're packed away at the minute. Hopefully I'll show them another time. And that does actually come with the Vicar, and I quite liked him because he was voiced by a fairly well-known actor called Nicholas Smith. And funnily enough, Nicholas Smith was also in Are You Being Served alongside Frank Thornton, and then Frank Thornton was also in Last Summer Wine alongside Peter Sallis. And Peter Sallis, you know, was the voice of Wallace, and unfortunately he's passed away now. But there is, in Christmas time, meant to be a new film, and it's called Vengeance Most Foul, and it's got the return of Feathers McGraw, the penguin, that appeared in The Wrong Trousers. And I've said before, I think The Wrong Trousers is probably my more favourite one of the film, was mainly because of the train chase scene. On the whole, I like Wallace and Gromit in general, so I'm really happy that they're back. And also, a figure that I've got in this set here is Mackintosh, and he was voiced by Peter Kay, one of my favourite comedians. Always been a fan of Peter Kay, everything that he's done. And also, Peter Kay produced a video for Children in Need a few years ago called Peter Kay's Animated All-Star Band, which featured a load of children's characters in stop motion as well, so that was quite interesting. Wallace and Gromit never appeared in that, unfortunately, but you know, Wallace and Gromit have done lots of other things like adverts and that as well. And it's funny actually, before I made this video I saw this post online where someone says that they miss the stop motion shows that they make, which I do agree is a bit of a shame. When I was younger, a lot of shows, like again Thomas the Tank Engine for example, was made not with stop motion such, but made using models and then went to be CGI animated. And when I was younger, I didn't watch it all the time, but there was Thunderbirds as well. We used to have a VHS of that, and that was made using puppets and animated, and I quite liked that. And there was actually a live action version of Thunderbirds as well, which was quite nice. And although it wasn't like the puppets and that, I still thought it was quite nice and effective, and everything was, you know, really good in it. So I enjoyed watching that. And now again that's become CGI animated, and again there's been loads of other shows as well that I've watched when I was younger that have become CGI animated. And on the whole, when Aardman Animations, who are the ones that produce Wallace and Gromit, you always know who their characters are. They've got a very distinctive look, and I think it's fair to say a lot of them are a little bit like Wallace. They've got like the big sort of jaw and that, but then there's obviously in the Curse of the Were-Rabbit lots of other characters were introduced and they didn't all look like Wallace. But a good example as well is if you watch carefully in the background of The Wrong Trousers in the museum scene, again a lot of the characters are a little bit like Wallace. They've got the big sort of jawline and that, and like I said, they've got a very distinctive look in general, most of the Aardman characters. Another show that Aardman produced, which I enjoyed watching, was Rex the Runt. I remember that used to be on BBC Two, I believe it was, on a Sunday all the time. And obviously until I was much older I didn't realise Aardman produced it, but I really enjoyed watching that. as I'm saying, PC Mackintosh is due to return in the film Vengeance Most Foul. And I think it's great that he's returning again, and Feathers McGraw. And again, there's other characters like, for example, I don't know, Wendelin, for example, that I quite liked. And the robot in A Grand Day Out, I really like them. But they didn't, as I say, they haven't been in any of the films since then, unfortunately. But I do have some magazines and books as well of Wallace and Gromit, and some of the characters that didn't appear in the films again do actually appear in that. So, you know, they're not sort of forgotten really. And I quite like the character Victor Quatermaine. I think as well, what always made me laugh, particularly with PC Mackintosh, was when he revealed over the megaphone by mistake about the fact that Were Rabbit wasn't actually dead. That's quite funny. Like I said, it was very funny. For me, it was a very funny film in general. Like I said, probably still my favourite one's The Wrong Trousers, but I quite like the Were Rabbit film. And I think what I like about Wallace and Gromit in general is if you look very carefully in the background, there's lots of sort of like hidden jokes as well. And this particular one here that was actually a little bit rude. If you pause in The Curse of the Were Rabbit very carefully, you can see this poster on the side. So like I said, a little bit rude, but again, I guess really, again, as you know, I go to a lot of preserved railways, and whenever I go there, you always see old sort of adverts as well. And I think with Wallace and Gromit, it's very sort of, you know, traditional British humour. Aardman Animations originally were part of DreamWorks, and they produced films like Flushed Away, Chicken Run, obviously The Curse of the Were Rabbit and that. But they went their separate ways because DreamWorks, being an American company, wanted to make them more sort of American, whereas Aardman wanted to obviously stick with the more British sense of humour, which I'm glad that they did. You know, and not lose its sort of like Britishness and that, and stick to that, which was nice. I mean, like I say, Flushed Away was CGI animated. And I didn't mind that film, but I wouldn't say that it's one that I'd necessarily go out of my way to watch again. But obviously, if it was on TV or something, then I'd watch it, sort of thing. But yeah, so like I said, you got all these 8 figures here. Another one quite like is Lady Tottington, and she was voiced by Helena Bonham Carter. And although she hasn't appeared in the films again, technically she has appeared again because she's appeared in the TV adverts, PG Tips and DFS recently, and still voiced by Helena Bonham Carter, who is a very famous actress. And there's been a lot of famous actors and that involved with Wallace and Gromit, and obviously Aardman Animations films over the years as well, which I think is great. And like I said, PC Mackintosh is meant to be coming back in this one. He's still voiced by Peter Kay, although he's meant to be promoted. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing that film. I think it'll be good. As you know as well, Wallace and Gromit also did a series called World of Inventions, which we've got on DVD. And although I say that I liked it, I'd much rather have had it if they'd have made a short film. I much prefer the short film sort of format that they do. But, you know, it's always great to see Wallace and Gromit, and even though there's a new voice actor now, because unfortunately Peter Sallis has died, you know, Wallace is going to have a different voice, but I still think he's going to be great, and I think just seeing Wallace and Gromit appear again is great. And I know that Peter Sallis would have wanted the show to go on, and, you know, I do as well, and I guess everyone else does as well. So it's going to be great to see them again. Really look forward to that. And again, as I was saying, there's Victor Quatermaine here, and again, he's a character that's not appeared again. But at the end of the Were Rabbit film, he was put into the Were Rabbit costume and chased off by the villagers, thinking that he was the Were Rabbit. So presumably he might be dead. We don't know. It doesn't mention it, but it actually comes here with his dog Philip, and Philip was a character that I quite liked in the film. And I've got this one here of Gromit. As you can see on the front of the boxes, they've all got stickers on them saying the names, but this one's actually missing. And I brought this one recently. I went to Market Harbour, and you've probably seen my videos. I've been to Market Harbour train spotting a lot. When I went at the end of last month. I didn't take my camera with me. I didn't actually go to the railway station. Me and my parents just went to the market. It's a lovely town, Market Harbour, and they've got a nice indoor market as well. You never know what you're going to find. And like I said, I got this there, and I didn't notice till I got home that the sticker was actually missing off the front, so I compared it to my other ones, but it's not in back condition anyway, and it wasn't that expensive, so I'm not too fussed. I'm just grateful to have it at all, really. These have obviously become discontinued, and some of them have still got the price tags on from when I first brought them. They were reduced and obviously a lot cheaper then. Wallace and Gromit Curse of the Were Rabbit came out in 2005, which makes it 19 years old now, but 20 years old next year, and it's quite spooky because I can remember when that was at school. I was at school and when it came out and everyone was talking about it. I mean, back then, I don't know if they do now, but, we used to go to the cinema and things a lot back then, whereas now, obviously, you've got Netflix and stuff online, YouTube and that, which is a lot more around than it used to be in social media and that, so I don't know if people go to the cinema as much, and it's a lot more expensive as well. But everyone was talking about the Curse of the Were Rabbit film that I was friends with, and I remember when I was in my last year at school, over Christmas, The Matter of Life and Death come out. It was on BBC One over Christmas, and I remember when I went back to school, it was quite funny. One of my teachers, she came over and said to me, "I bet I know what you was doing on Christmas Day. I bet you was watching Wallace and Gromit." And then there was another, he wasn't a teacher, but he was a teaching assistant. And I remember as well, because he brought in a Wallace and Gromit VHS for us to watch sort of towards the end of half term, so we watched Wallace and Gromit instead of having a sort of an actual educational lesson, and he knew that I was a fan. And I actually asked him, said, "Did you see the new Wallace and Gromit one?" And he said, "I knew you was going to ask me that." And it was quite funny, but at the same time, it was nice that they thought of me, I think. But I like The Matter of Life and Death film as well. Like I said, in general, I like all of them. And to say, I think Wallace and Gromit, they're the sort of characters you can sort of put into any sort of situation, and they'll just make it funny and and enjoyable, whatever. And they've obviously got their own sort of personalities and that. And so obviously a lot of the other characters that Aardman's produced as well. As I was saying with Wallace and Gromit, I particularly like that, say if you watch in the background, there's obviously some hidden jokes and puns and things like that. But it's, I think, again, very traditional sort of Britishness in a way as well, like sitting down having a cup of tea and things like that. And particularly in this scene of a grand day out when they're sat in the armchairs with a cup of tea and that reading magazines, it sort of reminded me of when I used to go around my nan's house when I was younger. I was quite close to my nan, unfortunately she passed away 9 years ago, but being around there having cakes and tea on the table and things like that sort of reminds me of Wallace and Gromit. I mean, we're not northern at all, but it's I think a very sort of traditional British sort of thing in a way, really. So I'm glad that they've that's been incorporated into a lot of the films. And also as well, I've had people ask me, there is a set that's come out by Corgi recently, which is the Wrong Trousers train chase scene, and it obviously comes with the train and with Feathers Gromit and Wallace on it. And I don't actually have it yet, but I have actually asked for it for Christmas, because I always get asked what I want for Christmas. So I don't know if I'll get it for Christmas or not. Wait and see. Obviously if there is, I'll do a review on it and talk about it. If not, I'll buy it for myself another time. But I'm really looking forward to the film that's coming out over Christmas. But I'm trying not to watch too many spoilers and that. I think again it was different when I was younger. There wasn't again all the stuff on the internet like there is now, like spoilers and things like that. And now there is sort of, obviously there was the magazines and that, but I tend not to read them. So I'm trying not to. I've seen a few behind the scenes photo in the trailer and that, and I'm still looking forward to it. And I think it'll be interesting to see what happens as well. And again, like I said, if you watch my other videos, you'll see that I've got lots of Wallace and Gromit items as well. So I've been a fan of Wallace and Gromit from a young age, really. I think it's fair to say. But here's a better look at all these figures, and thank you very much for watching.